Hi. Oops. Stop moving. There you go. Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's Dr. Sasheen. And I'm talking specifically today to my women over the age of 45 because that's where Gen X begins. And if you're not over the age of 45, you can listen. I'm not going to put you out. But if you find that some of this doesn't resonate with you because you haven't lived some of these experiences, then that's okay. It's okay to scroll on. If you're sticking around, hi, I'm Dr. Sasheen. Welcome to the party. And we're going to talk a bit about some of the resistance that comes with being our age and how to get over that, how to fix that in seconds as opposed to years. Because what people like to remind us is that, you don't have as many years left in your life, so you better make sure you get that life into your years. Well, that's true. That might be true. We're 45 and over means we either are getting real close to half century mark or we've hit it and we're just a little bit beyond it. So my Gen Xers, especially my Gen X Black women, it can be really difficult to reinvent ourselves because in order to reinvent yourself, it's like you have to admit that you didn't like what you've become. And I'm actually here to tell you that that's not what reinvention is. Reinvention isn't, I didn't like what I've become, and so now I need to go out and do something different to make up for what I didn't do. Reinvention is, I've lived a really amazing chapter, and I'm just ready to try something new, to do something different. That's it. It isn't an indictment of a life that you didn't live well or fully or any of those silly things that people are going to say to you when you choose to make changes that they disagree with, right? Because what happens is, first of all, y'all need to quit talking to people about your changes, about the things that you want to do and just go do them. Let them catch up. But first of all, the reality is that most of us who are over the age of 40, 45, 50, we've done a lot of stuff. And some of it, we're really happy that we did it. We don't necessarily want to keep doing it though. Like we've done it, it's been fun, it was good. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's like saying that because I was raised on white bread, white Wonder Bread no less, that I can't expand to different kinds of bread as I move through life, right? I only can ever just enjoy the Wonder Bread, the white Wonder Bread that of my childhood. Because to admit that I want something different would mean that the Wonder Bread was terrible. No, it doesn't. Reinvention says I grew up eating Wonder Bread because that's what my family knew. You know, I grew up in the inner city. But as I lived and went places and tried things, I got introduced to these other fascinating kinds of bread: wheat bread and multigrain bread and oat bread and good Lord baguettes and boulets and French loaves and all kinds of bread started to find their way into my world. And what sense would it make to say, well, I can't eat those breads because to do so would be to ignore the beauty of the Wonder Bread of my childhood, and there's nothing wrong with that Wonder Bread, so I don't need this new bread. Reinvention is the gift that we give ourselves when we reach a place in our life where we look around and go, this is good, I just want different. That's what it means to reinvent. Nobody said you had to tear it all down and build it back up. And in fact, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And nobody wants to tear down everything that they've worked so hard for. But that doesn't mean, and here's the key, it doesn't mean that because I've worked so hard for this, I'm not allowed to change it. That's not what that means. It means that I worked really hard for this, and now I'm going to go do something else. I want to go try something different. I want to go reimagine what my life looks like now. Because I don't know about you, I lived in some pretty sketchy places in my 20s. Imagine if I had decided that that was the pinnacle of my existence and that anything beyond that would be terrible, because that's not honoring where I have come from. It's not honoring where I am. I was 20 and broke. Of course I was fine where I was. But as I moved forward through life and I got better jobs and I started my own businesses here and there and started making some better money, why on earth would I not see a way to make my life different? Some of my little apartments in my 20s were fantastic. And in my 30s, they were fantastic. They were lovely. Why do I have to stay there? Where is it written in the Gen X rule book, our operating instructions that none of us came with? But where is it written that if it's good, it can't get any better, and you shouldn't want it to be? Where's that written? Where is it written that just because I've liked something for a decade, that I have to continue to like it? Maybe I just outgrew it. Maybe it's just time. Maybe it's just time. And that can be really difficult, especially for a generation that is so reliable, right? Like we are oil in the car. We just keep it running. We're so reliable. And so when people see us as doing anything that is unreliable, all of a sudden we are just like, oh, well, listen, you're having a midlife crisis and you need to think about your family and you can't go gallivanting off back to law school at 52. What is wrong with you? People don't go to law school at 52. You can't go train to be a doctor. You can't go back and decide to be a nurse. You can't decide to quit your 6-7-figure job and open a boutique. Reinvention is saying, I have invented an amazing life, or I haven't, and now I'd like to try something else. Either way, either I invented something amazing that was great, but I'm allowed to try something new, or, it ain't been that great up to this point. And now I think I'd like to try and see if I can make it better, because I'm still here. And as long as I'm on this side of the grass, then I think you owe it to yourself. We owe it to ourselves to not allow anybody else to say to us that you don't get to reinvent your life. Because whether it's good or bad, it's the life that you have, and you're in that path because you've been in that path for 40 plus years. That is where people try to use our age against us. By saying, well, you've been doing something for 40 something years. Why wouldn't you just keep doing it? Why would you switch it up now? Not realizing that sometimes it took us 40 something years to recognize who we are and what we want. And now that we're here and we know, we're ready to go, right? I have a lot of stories. I could tell a lot of stories. But I love the fact that I have had the opportunity, because I've chosen a different kind of a life that's taken me many places, to meet people, women who have reinvented their lives. I once met an amazing woman who'd moved here from Panama. This was back during a time when it was not as safe as it is now. And so she was fleeing. She was fleeing the country, but she moved here and she had reinvented herself. I met a woman who got divorced, was an architect, had all the trappings of upper middle class life, had a job and a husband, and then she got divorced and she still had the job, and she realized she hated it. She didn't want to do it anymore. It'd been fine. But the life that she left behind wasn't the one that she wanted to continue living, even if you subtracted the husband. So she wanted something different. She wanted to reinvent herself. Not just because she was getting a divorce, but because she wanted to see who else she could be. And that's what it is, right? Reinvention asks the question, who else can I be? Who else do I get the option to become? Remember? In the 50s, we get to move into the what do I get to do portion of our life. Well, I am talking to the 45 and over, but you get what I'm saying. Who else do I get to be now? When I'm raising my child, one of the things I hope to instill in him is you do not have to settle for any version of the life that you are living if you don't like it. And even if you do like it, if you get the itch to roam, to see what else might happen, go do it. Try not to hurt people along the way, but make sure that you don't hurt yourself by staying places that you have outgrown or that have outgrown you, right? So what do you get to do? If you're going to reinvent, and I highly suggest that you do, because this is a really good time to think about it, instead of asking the question, well, now what do you get to do? Who do you get to be? Who do you want to be? And here's the secret. You may be just fine with who you are and may just want to change everything else around you. And that's okay. Not all midlife crises are your crises. They're other people's. And you're just removing yourself from their drama. Thanks for listening up to this point. Tell me where you are. Are you thinking about reinvention? Have you thought about what life could look like if you begin to reimagine? Drop the word reimagine in the comments and let me know what it is that you imagine that your life is going to be for the next decade. And are you starting the work on that vision, or are you still stuck in the what will people think? Thanks for clicking in. Please click like, subscribe, and share if you know someone who needs to hear this message. And I'll talk to you soon. It's Dr. Sasheen. Bye.